Common garden pests in northern Manitoba. There are many different kinds of insects, and not all of them are harmful to your garden. Some are beneficial insects. These are insects that pollinate plants, or perhaps they are predatory insects that feed on or harm the bad insects. Harmful insects are ones that injure plants by either chewing the leaves, by sucking out the plant juices, or possibly by damaging or feeding on plant roots. If the plants have holes in the leaves or if they start to turn yellowish, this usually means that something is wrong and you need to do some investigating to determine what is happening. Knowing which insects are good and which insects are bad for your garden plants is important. Check your plants closely and regularly, including the undersides of the leaves. Learn to recognize the insects you need to control, and if numbers are low, you can handpick these bugs or their eggs off your plants and dispose of them. The following are some common garden insects. Flea beetles. These tiny black insects attack radishes, cabbages, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, tomatoes, potatoes, and turnips in the spring. Flea beetles can chew small holes in the leaves, giving a shot hole appearance. They are most common when conditions are dry in the spring. Rainy, wet weather does help to keep flea beetles off the plants. You can see the holes in the leaves that flea beetles cause, and the plant on the right is a radish, and so the radish is still fine to eat, but you can see the damage on the leaves that those flea beetles feeding in the spring have caused. Cutworms. There are many different kinds of cutworms, and they range in color from green to gray-brown to black. Depending on the type of cutworm, they can be found in the soil or above ground. They tend to cut or chew the stem of the plant off at or near the soil surface. Some will climb up and eat the leaves of the plants. They tend to feed at night, and they like young seedlings the best. Sometimes if you're looking in your garden, you'll see some wilted plants, and you'll go and have a look at them to see what might be wrong. And the stem is eaten completely through at the soil level. If then you dig around in the soil, you will notice these fat caterpillars, like in the picture here, in the soil. Cultural control includes putting a cardboard collar or tin can around the plant. Also, cutworms do not like crawling over abrasive surfaces, so sprinkling wood ash or eggshells in a ring around the plant may make the area around the plant less attractive to these worms. Cabbage worms. These are green worms which eat large holes in the leaves of cabbage family members. Those are plants like cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. They're difficult to spot sometimes as they're the same color as the plant, green plant, and they're a large green worm. If you notice damage on your plants, like the holes in the leaves in the broccoli plants in the right picture, and you tap on the plant, sometimes that green worm will fall to the ground and you can see them against the black soil a little bit better. Aphids. Aphids are small, pale green, soft-bodied insects. They're usually found in clumps and often on the underside of the leaf. They appear first thing in the spring and can be found over the entire summer. They pierce the plant and suck out the plant juices, and as a result, the feeding damage may lead to wilted plants or leaf curling with the aphids kind of within the curl of the leaf. Aphids are susceptible to the effects of weather, with heavy rains and periods of high temperatures negatively affecting population levels. If populations are low, the leaves where the aphids are located can be removed, or the aphids can be sprayed with a strong stream of water, and sometimes that'll knock them off the plants. Garden slugs. You may not notice garden slugs if you're out checking your garden in the daytime, as they are most often seen when conditions are cool and damp, such as when there is dew on the plants in the evening or early morning. You may notice ragged leaves, ragged holes in the leaves, and a trail of slime, but no culprit in sight. Slugs tend to hide under dead leaves, lumps of earth, rocks, mulch, and wooden boards during the day. As mentioned, they tend to be a problem when conditions are humid and wet, so make sure to allow for airflow around your plants. which means staking plants that lay down on the ground, such as tomatoes and cucumbers. Stake them up off the ground, tie them up so they're up off the ground, and remove plant residue and items where slugs can hide out. An easy cultural control method is to place a saucer or dish of stale beer in the garden. Slugs are attracted to the smell and they crawl into the container where they drown in the liquid. Clean out that container and fill it back up to trap more slugs. They also do not like to crawl across rugged surfaces, so wood ash or eggshells around the perimeter of your garden may help keep them away. The Colorado potato beetle. These are a very distinctive insect. They are pale yellow with dark stripes, as indicated in the picture. They chew large pieces of the leaves on potatoes and tomatoes. If populations are low, the eggs or the beetles can be handpicked off the plant and then discarded, or you can use a net, perhaps a butterfly net or sweep net, to trap and discard them. And there are pictures there of the various stages of the Colorado potato beetle, from egg to the actual adult beetle. And you can see in the lower left picture the extent of the damage they can cause on a potato plant. Root maggots. These are grubs, small worms that eat their way through the roots of plants like onions, turnips, and radishes. You can cover small plantings with a row cover so that the adult flies cannot lay eggs near the plants. And there is a picture of the small fly in the bottom picture. Other garden pests. Fencing is another point to consider for a successful garden. People or animals in the garden will disturb the plants and pack down the soil, which will cause the growth rates of the plants to slow down. Pets digging in the garden will disturb plant roots, causing the plant to die. And as you know, dogs and pets do love to dig in a garden, and they can do a lot of damage very quickly. Also, fencing off the garden will keep things like roaming horses or deer and other wildlife from nibbling on your plants or trampling your plants in your garden. There are options for controlling insects, such as using an insect control product. These products need to be stored safely, away from people and pets, and used according to the label directions. There are also a number of commercial products on the market that are more targeted and less harmful to people and animals, called insecticidal soaps, meaning insect controlling soaps. There are also a number of home remedies, such as mixing dish soap with water and spraying the plants, or using products like wood ash in the soil to prevent root maggots when planting onions. If you are out in the garden often, you will notice insect damage before it becomes a problem. Then, if numbers of damaging insects are low, you can pick off the insects or their eggs and dispose of them. If damaging insects are using weeds, weed piles, leaves, garden debris, or mulch as hiding spots, remove these materials. Working your garden in the fall can also keep overwintering insects and egg laying to a minimum. Prevention is the best method for keeping insects out of the home garden, as catching insects before numbers get high will help keep your garden pest-free, your plants healthy, and your vegetables producing. If you're looking for additional resources specific to gardening in northern Manitoba and food production in northern Manitoba, check out the Manitoba government website, where there are a number of resources listed under the Indigenous and Northern Relations webpage. Or you can Google Northern Healthy Foods Initiative resources, and you should be able to find the link using that method as well. There are a number of resources specific to gardening in northern Manitoba, and you should be able to find the information you're seeking on that webpage.